They're waiting on you whenever you're ready.
And we're ready, all right. Good evening, welcome to the March 9th meeting of the Danvers Conservation Commission. We operate under Mass General Law 131, Section 40 of the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town Bylaw, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Bylaw is us, the Act is the state. The way this works, we'll call these cases in the order they appear after the applicant presents his or her request, and the board's had time to ask questions and discuss the project. We will take questions from the audience. It's a public meeting, so if you have a question, you'll go up to the podium and you'll give your name and address. You can find and disagree on issues raised, and we like to hear about that, as long as everybody does it in a civil manner and they're respectful. And just note that our jurisdiction pertains to the Wetlands Act, and so if you have traffic issues or things you want to bring up, we don't have any control over that. So having said that, I'll take a roll call. I'll start. You?
Mary Height?
Yeah? Yeah?
Here. Yep.
Yeah? Ann?
I'm here.
All right. Ann McGill is here. Michael Splain, I'm here as acting chairman. Our chairman, Peter Wilson, is in Savannah. Good for him. All right. And the first matter we have is a notice of intent, 31 Mass Ave, and that's DEP file number 14-1416. Who's here for the applicant?
I'm Caitlin White from Hancock Associates. With me is Jay Plakowitz from our engineering department. We are here on behalf of Charlie DiLorenzo in request for a permit to add a garage addition to his single-family home as well as a driveway relocation. Could you bring up the plan, potentially? Yeah, thank you. It's all the way at the end.
Okay, you want to tell us about the plan?
Sure, yeah. So behind 31 Mass Ave is the perennial stream. Maybe a different attachment then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so behind 31 Mass Ave is the perennial stream Frostfish Brook. Associated with that is a 100-foot inner riparian zone, as well as a 200-foot.
This is the Woodville area.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not from Danvers, sorry.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, so
We're all
his.
familiar with the Frost
Yeah.
Brook.
Yeah, you guys just did you repaired the bank, I think, recently, right? But yeah, so his entire lot is within the 200-foot riverfront area.
Right.
So what he wants to do is add a garage.
Okay, you just go up and point out what you have now and what you want to do.
Yep, so this is his existing single-family home. This is where his driveway is. He wants to add a garage addition on this side of the house and then relocate the driveway.
All right. With regards to the, do you need any other relief, like side lot line relief or anything for zoning? No?
So, Jay Plakowitz with Hancock Associates. The project's already gone to ZBA. Some of the roof overhang was in the side setback, and it was approved by the zoning board. The way that the side setbacks work on this site is this is the only location that they could put an addition, so that's why the garage and driveway are flipping from one side to the other.
Okay, and so you got that relief already?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and do you want to continue? Yeah. So,
All right, so I can talk a little bit about the drainage design that we've done here. So you can't see it now.
can we pull something up?
Yeah, I am. It's actually not at the end of that packet that was
So
there,
are
so
you
it's in a different
moving,
place.
you moving the garage?
Yep, so the garage existing is going to become living space, and the new addition will
So
be the
that
new
garage
garage.
is staying, it's just being transformed to living space?
Yes. Okay, so here you go. So you can see the addition on the right side of the plan here
Yeah.
with the new driveway. The existing driveway is to be removed. The driveway is to be extended a bit to the back of the site where a shed will be. The shed's already on site, it's just being moved. So for a drainage design, we've pitched the driveways towards infiltration trenches, which is a crushed stone infiltration
Can you point
trench.
those out?
Yep.
Also, are you adding impervious?
So there is a slight increase in impervious area, but I'll get to that. So these are the infiltration trenches here. So these are surficial drainage systems. And then for the roof area, we have 2 subsurface infiltration chambers. So even though there is an increase in impervious area, it's not a significant one, and with the drainage BMPs that we're proposing, there will be a reduced peak rates of runoff in every storm up to the 100-year storm.
How much square feet are you adding?
We are increasing 1,677, which is below the threshold, it's below the 9%
For the computation to,
for the whole lot, yeah.
want to just go through that?
Sure, yeah. So the lot is 18,125 square feet. It's 9.25% increase,
Yeah.
which is below the 10% threshold.
What's behind the back of your lot? I mean, we've had people come in and then they'll do something in the back to sort of compensate. You familiar with that?
Yeah, so it was vegetated when you guys did you altered the bank. So there was plantings that are already in place there.
All right, that you placed?
Nope, the town did.
Yeah.
You guys did.
And, they're there?
Yes.
Saying yes.
They are.
All right. Anything else?
Is there any way to see?
Wait, okay.
Oh, sorry,
Do
I
you have a
apologize.
No,
I didn't
go
know
ahead.
you said me. Is
right,
there any
Mary.
way to see so you can see what's around the, like pinch it so you can see where the water is?
You zoom in on the.
I mean, the
Yeah.
brook.
The brook, yep. Okay, thank you.
And the 200 encompasses the whole lot, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
which is not unusual for
Yeah.
Woodville, yeah. All right, any other questions, Mary? Ann, questions?
Is that the green border is the bushes that were,
This is mean annual high water associated with the brook.
okay.
Could you tell us a little more about what you're doing with the drainage?
Yeah, so the proposed driveway, it's pitching at a 2% slope to the south, which is planned left. And that water from the driveway will be picked up by the infiltration trenches. They're about 3 feet deep, 2 feet wide.
They're just a trench, a dug trench?
So it's a dug trench and then filled with crushed stone, so the voids in the crushed stone provide some storage volume for the storms. So back on the rear of the house, there's a trench over here that'll pick up the driveway. So instead of the driveway being super elevated to one side, it's a consistent slope down to that infiltration trench. And then the roof area from the proposed addition will go into the subsurface chambers here. And so we're mimicking existing drainage patterns. There's a high point in the middle of the site that splits the site from going towards the street and towards the brook. We're mimicking that. We're cutting down on peak rates, going to both discharge
So what does
points.
that do?
That's just what is existing. We're just maintaining what's out there.
Oh. All right.
Are you removing any impervious?
So we're removing the old driveway.
Okay.
And how many square feet is that?
Do you have the square footage of the driveway itself?
Approximate's good.
Yeah, I'd have to take a guess. We just have the net areas in here, so, existing, okay, so yeah, the existing area is about 1,300 square feet.
Length times width? Okay. So you're removing 1,300, and
Yeah.
how much driveway are you adding?
Again, these are net, this would include the area of the addition.
Yeah, well, not the addition, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's probably just a little bit more than 1,300 square feet. The new driveway's a little bit bigger than the existing driveway.
All right. And what are you doing with the part of the driveway that you're removing?
It'll become landscaped.
Landscaped?
Yeah, so essentially the site's just
Just-
becoming a mirror image of
All right,
itself.
landscaped how?
I'm assuming they do grass. It's a front lawn existing.
It is?
Yeah. Yeah, so the whole site is lawn. There's a fence at the rear property line.
Yeah.
So from the rear property line towards the Frost Fish Brook is vegetated. From the fence towards the road, it's, lawn and general house landscaping.
All right, and last question, what's the flow of water like, the runoff?
So I'm sure my exact numbers are in my stormwater report, but we're reducing the runoff rates from existing to proposed with our drainage BMPs.
So there'll be
There'll be less runoff in the proposed condition than
runoff.
existing, yeah.
all right. All right, that's all I have. Any further questions from the board? All right, does anybody feel a need to go out there?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
I'm good
Does
with
someone
that
want to
one.
make a motion to issue an order of conditions?
I'll make a motion for an order of conditions for 31 Massachusetts Ave, DEP file number 14-1416.
All right. Any special conditions?
No.
None.
No,
Okay.
no,
All right,
there's no-
motion's been made. Second? Do we have a second?
Aye.
You second?
Yes.
All right, all in
say
favor?
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
You're doing good.
I'm going to introduce our new member, by the way, Mary Hay. All right, the next matter is on the item number 2, an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, an ANRAD, 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, 5 Cemetery Road, DEP file number 14-1417, and who's here for the applicant?
Good evening, my name is Craig Marchanda with Marchanda and Associates. We're the engineers and land surveyors representing the applicant. As you mentioned, it's 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, and 5 Cemetery Road. We had the BVW delineated by Norris Environmental Services. It's shown in the green line on the plan in front of you.
Just to interrupt, could you give me an idea where that is on 114?
It's across from...
I'll get a map up in just a second.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. 'cause I don't-
There's no locus map up
A
here.
locale, like, what's it near?
We have a locus on the sheet if you want to
Oh.
pan, if that might be helpful. We have a locus top corner.
Is it by LaBelle's Grove? Right? Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right, all right.
There we go. See, they have the answers. I didn't know that.
yeah,
Perfect, there it is.
there it is.
Yep.
All right,
So toward the rear of the property and a little bit in the middle, there's a BVW that kind of bumps out. We had it flagged, as I mentioned, by Norris Environmental Services, and we're hoping to get the delineation confirmed from you folks across these 3 lots.
yeah. Only, we haven't been out there, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so I don't think we would confirm it without at least going out or even having somebody else look at it to see if they agree.
Right.
Has this ever been staked before?
Not that I'm aware of historically.
Probably not, yeah.
So there was no previous applications where there would have been a delineation?
Correct, none that I'm aware of.
All right. And where are the wetlands?
It's this green line, goes right through here, off that way.
And it's staked now?
It's flagged, yes.
Flagged, yeah.
Yeah, we located the flags to put them on the plan.
Well, I think at the least, I would want to go out on a site visit to see where the flags are and then decide whether we need to have anybody confirm that or say, that looks all right.
Right, absolutely.
if we want to take a look at, well, Peter's not here now, but,
I can help you organize a
help
site,
us
a
set
site visit,
something up?
post-meeting,
Yeah.
sure.
you know, we have more daylight hours now, fortunately. What would be good with you guys at the end of the day, or?
We'll make ourselves available anytime.
You will?
Whatever works for you
All
guys.
right, I'm going to leave it, so you're okay to continue this then till?
Sure. Yeah,
Next.
typically, commissions want to walk these, so I expected such.
I mean, we always want to go out, you know, not just confirm it without at least going out there.
Right,
And,
absolutely.
Staff will arrange for a site visit, correct?
Yeah, I'll work with Craig, and first I'll get a couple of dates from the board, the commission, and we'll work with Marchand and Associates to get guys out there.
Great, we'd
I didn't mean
appreciate
to cut you short. Is there anything else you wanted to add at this time?
that. No, of course. Yeah, no, the NRADs are straightforward on my end, so I don't really have much to add.
And we don't know what projects are proposed at this point, just,
No.
you just want to do the delineation and have us put a stamp on it,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
All right. When's our next meeting, Brian? June 13th was canceled, correct?
Correct, hold on a second. I
leave
believe
that
June 3rd, yeah, correct, June 13th was canceled, but we can just say to the next available Conservation Commission meeting.
Well, what is?
2 weeks after that.
That would be June 27th.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, June 27th, did someone want to make a you all right with that?
Yes.
Someone want to make a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, 5 Cemetery Road, DEP file number 14-1417.
Yeah. I'll just say, folks, this is, what this is we don't know what the project will be, but the applicant is saying there's wetlands there. We want to mark off where we think the wetlands are, and then, I don't know if anyone came here because they were interested in this, if they have the matters being continued till June 27th. All right? Okay, so a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Very good. Aye.
All right, we'll see you on June 27th.
Thank you very much.
And look forward to going out there and meet and see you out there.
Great, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's up to the applicant, the owner of the land. I mean, do you,
You have to require owner's consent.
Yeah, I
So
know.
I can speak to my client and see if that's
Yeah.
agreeable.
yeah, you can check through, if you want to give your name and information to Brian, and then you can go through him, okay? Okay. Is that something you're interested in going to? Absolutely, yes. You're not just curious, okay. Good, all right. Well, make sure you give him your information then. Thank you.
I want to point out, actually, unfortunately, I think we have to change that vote real quick, because we actually do have a meeting May 23rd. Our June 13th, our June
What did I say,
13th,
June 20th?
yeah, our June 13th meeting is canceled, but we do have a meeting May 23rd. I would advise recommending
Well, I don't know.
to
Well,
change it
let's
to
see.
May
June-
23rd.
Well, 23rd, I won't be here. We might have an issue. Well, he's all right with the 27th.
Let's move forward then.
Yeah, you're all right, right?
Yeah, that'll work.
We'll leave it.
Easy,
I don't know if we'll have a quorum that day.
fair enough.
No. I'm
Why?
going to Cape.
Well, you can come back.
All right.
It's not that far.
Next matter is a request for determination of applicability for 178 Summer Street, RDA, file number 2024-04. The applicant is the town of Danvers. Who's here for the applicant?
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. It's Steve King, Town Engineer for the Town of Danvers. I'm here on behalf of the Town of Danvers to submit a request for determination of applicability, RDA, for installation of a new permanent generator, 11 by 5 concrete pad at our existing wastewater pumping station on Summer Street located addressed at 178. Wait for Brian to pull it up.
Okay, and we've been out to see this before. Were all the issues resolved as to where everything was going?
Yeah, it's a called a postage stamp lot, so we're very confined to where we can put the generator. We're basically going to demo the existing one and concrete pad and put the new generator in the same spot.
Right.
And no new wires are being run anywhere? or-
There'll be some new underground conduits that will have to get replaced and repaired. There'll be some plumbing with the
Yeah,
gas
didn't
fitters.
we walk and try to think about where those wires would be coming?
This was a while back.
Underground conduits?
Yeah.
Would you mind going to, I think it's
This was a while back, though, wasn't it?
fifth
Yeah, it was
sheet?
Yeah,
a while
yeah,
back.
I'll bring up the full permit set.
Okay.
And Steve, just to refresh my memory, what does that generator serve? And what number of homes or area?
So it's our largest pump station in Danvers, so it serves everything from Route 1, North Street, all the way through, basically, to halfway through Summer Street, and encompassing most of Locust Street as well. So there's also several pump stations that pump into that wastewater collection system, which then goes to that pump station. So it is one of our largest. We've had a generator, it was originally built in 1991 with the generator. It's past its useful life. It actually hasn't been in service for the past year, so we've had to have an emergency rental backup on site for the past year. And so we've just been working through getting the funding and going through the permitting and design process to replace it.
And you have your funding now, ready to go?
Funding is in place, yep,
Oh,
we're
we
ready to
don't want to
go.
hold you up either. So I was just curious, because I remember we were walking around and I was asking where the conduit was going to run.
Yeah, so the existing utility pole is just outside the fence line. We're gonna pick up through there, connect to the electrical cabinet, and then run a new conduit from the new cabinet to the new concrete pad, which will then penetrate through to the generator. So it's only the small area of electrical work within the station.
Yeah.
And then it's a natural gas power driven generator, so we're also running a new natural gas line into the station, into the generator as well.
Again, just that short distance?
Yep,
Yeah.
correct.
Any questions? None? Mary,
No.
Any questions?
No, I was good on this.
Any questions from the audience? Any concerns? Would you like to say something? Come up and identify yourself, sir, and where do you live?
I'm an abutter on the North Street side of the station, and I just heard about it, and I just want to know
Oh, sure.
what was going on, so I don't really know too much about it. Is it all going to be contained within the existing station?
I think you could, those questions can be answered by Mr. King, so if did you get the question, Steve?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. The existing, everything will stay within the existing site that's
Okay.
fenced in. Nothing's going to be expanded or...
Footprint stays the same.
Footprint stays the same, correct.
Okay, I've been there before the station was put in, and, they put the street down off of Summer, and it was like wetlands, and the water used to come through from North Street and then down the hill from Summer Street. And when it was built, when they put the road in, they...
Excuse me, could you just repeat his comment, because I didn't hear any of it?
Okay,
Did you want to speak up?
sure, I'm sorry.
No, if you can.
I've been there before the station was put in, and it was wet area coming in from North Street and Summer Street down the hill on the road, and they put that new road in, and when they put that in, they put piping underneath for the drainage to go through to the wetlands down back. And since then, for some reason, they filled in the entrance on both sides of the piping, so the water backs up into the property around. Like even today, I was out mowing the lawn, and my backyard was pretty wet.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if they could just discuss that as far as cleaning out the pipe so they can let the water run through.
You have a clogged pipe?
Yeah, they put some crushed stone in on one side, and the water doesn't go through. It backs up. I don't know if the abutter is here, that it goes to mostly his property on Summer Street, but it also swings over into my yard. And
Well, that just raised a question, Steve. You know how we now you have to request a stormwater permit, right, for projects? Is this a project that would have to do that? If you don't mind addressing it?
Sure.
Yeah.
If you can hear me okay.
Yeah, fine.
Yes. This project would hit the waiver exemption for a stormwater permit because it's a town utility project. So we wouldn't go through the stormwater review process, which
goes through my office, but
Yeah.
we do take into consideration the DEP stormwater standards for our projects.
But his issue is not part of why we're here, and I'm just wondering, you could tell him where to address that if anywhere?
Yes, if there's an issue that we're not made aware of a backed up drain pipe somewhere, we can obviously go take a look out, visit the site, and see if we can address that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one other thing is, when they put it in, they put a covering over the fence, which the station is surrounded by a chain link fence. And years ago, that disappeared. You know, it blown away and damaged, and it was never replaced. So, you know, just the view down there, if they can just reinstall some
Well,
kind
the
of,
new one's gonna have a fence, right?
well, a
think
fence,
so.
Oh, it's the
I'm talking about a covering,
Fence
Yeah.
screening,
screening.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yep,
meaning that
screening,
screening
yeah.
that would be attached to the fence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the only
Well,
questions
thank
I
you for your
have.
comments,
Because
sir.
I didn't know what was going on.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
thank you.
great. That's why
Thank
you
you.
come. Yeah. All right, any questions, anything else from the audience? We don't have anyone on the phone or,
We do, but not for this.
not for this project.
Not for this
Zoom,
particular.
no.
Okay.
All right,
So what are we issuing here?
so we're requesting on,
Negative determination.
Correct.
we're doing a request, we need I'll take a motion for an issue, to issue a negative determination of applicability for this project. This is a public meeting. Let's move to close the public hearing. Want to make a motion?
Make a motion that we close the public hearing for 178 Summer Street.
Second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And do we have a motion on the request for determination of, negative determination of applicability?
I make a motion that we issue a negative determination of applicability for DCC, what is this? What am I looking at?
DOC.
DOC number 2024-04.
That's it. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
we'll see you again.
That's a good project. All right, the last matter, well, not the last matter, we have stuff, but the last public matter is a notice of intent for 191 Old Burley Street. The applicant is Flight Level Aviation. It's DEP file number 14-1411. And who is here for the applicant?
I am, sir.
Yeah, hi, Peter.
Hi. My name is Peter Ogden, and I'm with Hayes Engineering. I'm here with Joe Grillo, who's another engineer in my office. There may also be on the Zoom meeting a representative of Flight Level Aviation, Bob Lawrence, and somebody from Conley Brothers, I believe.
Yeah. Are there other parties on the Zoom as well?
That is correct. Bob Lawrence of Flight Level, the applicant, is here.
Homeowners?
No, sir. No homeowners online.
There are people here, I assume the people
Definitely.
here are interested in this project, yeah? Okay.
Thank you. I'd like
And
to
this
just...
is for, to be clear, this is for construction of the new hangar, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'd just like to give a brief recap of where we've been here. We filed for a NOI on this project back in January, had a hearing in February, and it was continued to March and April. I believe as we left it with the commission, they were basically satisfied with what we had presented, but there was a request that we do a independent stormwater review. That was accomplished by Ty and Bond, and during the period that ensued, we were delayed with the project, and we also found that we would be subject to the stormwater permit, which you just mentioned,
Right.
and the land disturbance bylaw. And we also found out that we had to file with planning board, which we had previously believed we did not have to do. We have done all those filings and received responses on all three jurisdictions from Ty and Bond and also the town engineer who's here this evening. Basically, what we're here for tonight is hopefully to close out the notice of intent aspect of this application. the review of the tie and bond, and I indicated in my letter that we had received information on all three jurisdictions, but tonight it's just about the NOI. And that's the cover letter that we sent to you earlier. That was accompanied by 3 response issues. And the first is a tie and bond, and they basically indicated that we had met all the standards of the stormwater permit under the NOI, with really two concerns.
You discussed the problem areas or the areas of concern and how they were responded?
Yeah, that's all I was going to do, was just discuss not the ones that they indicated we had met the standards, but under the first standard, they asked, in the NOI, they asked that we provide an independent analysis of the removal rates for the priority device. And we did submit that.
What does that mean, Peter?
We used a priority device for cleansing the water before infiltration, or before it goes into the retention pond, actually. In this case, it wasn't really designed as a retention pond. And that device was a Barracuda. And we did submit this document. I don't know quite why they didn't think it was sufficient, but they mentioned 2 standards which I believe are no longer available to us. The TOP program, and what was the other one, Joe? I forget. The STEP program. I don't think that those tests are being done anymore. That was some time back. This was, however, reviewed by an independent company, not actually for this specific storm scepter, but it was, or this specific Barracuda, but a smaller one.
What is a Barracuda?
It's a brand name for a proprietary device for removing particles from stormwater. I mean, don't ask me why they name them these things, but that's what it's called. Sounds pretty savage to me, I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, you're calling it a device, but it's,
Basically, it's a swirling device. It's uses like a centrifuge, takes the particles out of the flow.
it spins them, yeah?
and crushes.
And there is a standard waste that they use of particular matter, and in this particular instance, we had the Barracuda S6, which we recommended had a flow rate of 2.43, and we had a flow rate, as indicated down the bottom, of 0.85. So I'm not sure why they asked for more information on it. I think this is all you can get. And some of the other ones that were analyzed under the STEP program and so forth are not really available anymore. That was particularly the storm scepter was one that was analyzed under that. So that was the one issue, and I really think that we've met that standard. The other one was we did not give you a signed copy of the illicit discharge agreement, which we will provide when the permit issues. We don't intend to have any illicit discharges. So the response letter, we wanted to just change the plan once. The response letter responded not only to the NOI concerns, but also those under the stormwater permit, which we don't have yet, and also planning board, which that meeting has not yet been held. So we submitted one plan and we gave all the responses to you. If you have any questions on those, Joe and I are here to hopefully respond to any concerns that you might have. What we would hope is that we're ready to get an order of conditions from you people.
Yeah. So the issue with runoff is being addressed by this device you referenced?
In part, yeah. I mean, there are a number, as we talked about it last time, it was a two-phase thing here. One was flow attenuation, which is flowing down the increased runoff from the hangar and from the paved area. That was being handled with the retention pond, or detention pond, actually, that's in front of the hangar.
And you're still going to have the detention or
We're still going to have
pond.
that. We have a particle separator that goes into the detention pond, and then we have infiltration from the backside of the hangar off the roof.
And some sort of service plan to maintain,
Yeah, we filed all that. We filed a long-term maintenance plan for all the devices that we were using. As I say, the concept of the drainage hasn't changed. It's still twofold. It's the flow attenuation with the detention pond and then infiltration in the back of the hangars. We did make one change. When we originally filed this, we did it in 2 phases, which made the stormwater a little complex. Due to all the time that it's taken to go through the permit process here, Flight Levels decided to just build it in 1 phase. So it's all a kind of a linear thing now. We were going to build a retention pond the full size, but we had 2 different widths of storm infiltration behind the hangar. We now have just 1 continuous thing, but that's all been reviewed by Ty and
So there was a new plan showing,
Yes, we submitted to you by both email and also sent some physical copies of the revised plan that incorporates, as I indicated in the letter, it incorporates all of the concerns from the NOI portion of it, the stormwater issues that were raised, and we also responded to the planning board.
where's the retention area now? Is it,
Joe's pointing that out there on the,
all right, and that's different than what you originally proposed?
no, that's actually precisely the same.
It
I
is?
shouldn't say precisely the same. We had a stilling portion in the bottom, but we didn't require it. A water quality volume, we didn't require it. The suggestion of Ty and Bond was to make that level so that we didn't retain any water there for a long period of time.
So how will that perform, just briefly, with a
It
major
integrates
storm?
the flow over time. When it rains on the pavement, it comes down. Joe, can you point out the pavement goes into that, as the storm, actually the Barracuda in that location, which tends to clean the water before it discharges into the basin. Then the basin stores water over time so that it essentially integrates the flow, as I indicated. That flow then comes out a drain pipe that actually goes under the hangar, right there, and discharges through a level spreader with an overflow device, device and into the wetland, which of course is the destination of the water in the beginning. And then the roof water from half the hangar, the other half, Joe, yeah, right. The ridge line is where Joe is indicating now along the center line of the hangar. All that water discharges into a stone trench, which stores it and infiltrates it, goes around like that, and that...
Does the water all come off from one side, you mean, or?
From half of it, yes, sir, yeah.
No.
Yeah, the other half goes directly into the pond.
Just what you showed, yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't need to be cleansed, that's presumed clean. So then that infiltration trench is now linear along the back. We had it in 2 phases, but no longer because they want to build it all at once now.
Okay.
And then there are other aspects of the plan that we talked about last time. We're bringing sewer out here because we have to have floor drains in the hangar have to tie into the sewer. They can't go into the drainage at all. And we're bringing out utilities. Those are indicated. But entirely it's in the buffer zone and not in the no-build area. We talked about all that last time.
And in terms of the construction, what are you doing to prevent any contamination to wetlands?
We have a tracking pad that's for trucks coming in and off the site, but all the soils from the site are going to remain on the airport property and not within the wetland buffer zone. So we got a tracking pad, and then we have a hay bale that Joe's indicating now that goes around the entire construction, between the construction and the wetlands, so that will protect the wetland from any runoff. And Conley Brothers is intending to build this. They're a very experienced building company.
And finally, you're not, this project is not going to create any additional water problems or in the immediate area or the surrounding area?
Not in my opinion. We talked about that last time. In fact,
Right.
I gave you a slide which showed that this goes into a fairly large wetland area. It heads first in the northerly direction, then kind of circles around and ultimately goes into Fish Brook. I can't say that 3 times, so be very
No one
careful.
can. But you're saying that all the runoff, wherever it may go, is contained within the airport area?
No, it's not contained. It goes first northerly, I think in a unnamed stream, and then swings around southerly. Do we still have that slide, Joe? We had it last time. It goes into a wetland and then into the brook, and it doesn't, there was one butter who came here to the last meeting who indicated some concerns, the end of runway 9, if you're familiar with the airport. This is not tributary to that, but it does ultimately run off the airport site, but there's a lot of flow that intervenes between now and even getting back to any houses, running, as I say, into a fairly big wetland area. Joe, can we, he's indicating there where the hangar construction will be. Then the runoff goes first northerly and then swings around.
Is that Burley Street, Old Burley to the right?
Old
Is that Burley?
Burley
That's Burley.
is Mark Burley Street there.
That's Burley there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it runs first, as I say, northerly and then around southerly and back. And the one really runoff concern that was expressed last time was at the end of runway 9. Joe, do you know where that is? Down, okay. Yeah, right there.
And where does it end up?
This ends up in that too, but we do not discharge into that area. His concern was a culvert that he believed belonged to the town, and there was some discussion about getting them to take a look at it.
Right.
It's a drain that goes under Burley Street, and that ultimately goes to Fishbrook too, but it's down gradient of us quite a bit.
All right, well,
We head first northerly and then,
those are my questions. I'll open it up. Any questions, Mary?
Was that 91 Burley Street?
191, yes.
No, the place where they were concerned about the flooding?
Oh, I don't remember the address. Do you? Are they here?
Yep. Has the city looked at that?
Excuse me?
Has the city looked at that? It said the staff will evaluate the drain.
I don't know. Stephen King is here. You can ask
Stephen
him.
King, I'm going to ask Steve if he has anything to add. Do you have anything else to say, Peter, right now? Or?
No.
All right, well,
Don't go far.
Stephen, you responded to this project with a letter, the April 26th letter. So how did that come about? Were you asked to respond? Or did somebody note problems that I asked you to address?
Typically for any process, we've been starting to review any Concom filings and zoning filings that have come in that are related to potentially stormwater permits that may come about. So that's why we were given a set of the plans and the NOI application to review. We then provided some comments and feedback based on the original set of plans, and then turned into a peer review at Ty and Bond, which we've worked with in the town already. And they've also provided a memo and comments. The latest memo from April 26 also asked that they just address what Ty and Bond had brought to light as far as some of the standards, meeting the standards. And then we also had a few other utility type concerns that we'll be addressing through the stormwater permit and water and sewer permit
The
applications.
matters you asked him to address, what were those?
There's
In your letter?
everything, yeah. There's
Yeah, were they addressed?
I have not got a chance to see the revised set. It was just hard copies were just given to me this week. So I'll have a chance to go through those over the next couple of days.
Well, did they relate to the stormwater permit?
They relate the stormwater, water, and sewer.
But,
In the memo, I have it broken down as far as like per sheet and then for the stormwater report.
yeah, I have that here. I don't know. You're saying that you're not sure which
I have not, my staff and I have not been able to go through the entire response submitted by Hayes Engineering to be able to answer if we've been fully satisfied.
So you're not saying, you can't say now you're fully satisfied?
Yeah, I have not having a chance to review the full packet that was submitted.
But clarify if it's not so, that's under the stormwater permit, not under the NOI.
Yeah, so, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to go through that.
They still have to file and submit for stormwater, a permit through us. So they still have to respond to those comments before they can even get a building permit for the.
What I'm trying to, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, what they address with you, does that impact what
What
we're going to
trying
vote
do,
on?
right, yeah.
So that we maybe should wait to vote and continue this again, because what your response might somehow impact what we do.
I think overall, I've taken I did a site walk with Flight Level and Bob, who's on the call, and the Hayes representative, so I got a good understanding of what's happening as far as stormwater is concerned. There are a few minor issues, but those are things we can work out through the stormwater permit, which I don't fully think they're going to change the intent of what the Wetlands Protection Act is trying to do.
Yeah, well, that's why I guess I'm asking those issues. You're saying they're minor issues now, so they shouldn't affect whether we vote on this now, because I don't want to vote on something and find out that it should have, we should have waited.
I mean, I guess I have to leave that into your opinion as far
Yeah.
as what the commission is comfortable doing, but
Yeah.
we also have a permitting process through stormwater where we're going to review it and make sure everything's addressed on our end before
So
the
you
project starts.
currently have unresolved issues.
I don't know if I would call them exactly unresolved, but I just haven't a chance to review everything that Hayes Engineering has submitted to me to be prepared to answer your questions tonight.
Any questions for Steve?
And
No.
I guess to answer your question, we did go out and observe the drain at 90 on Burley Street. We tried to camera and clean it, but it actually was, there's a small section that's collapsed, so we're gonna have to go and repair that drain pipe.
Is that a significant drain?
Yes, I believe
Yes.
it's a 24-inch RCP drain, so it takes quite a bit of volume from that side of the airport.
Yeah.
Chair, if I may, real quick, Mike,
Yes.
very quickly. So there were 3 points that were in the last response memo that were not addressed. Mr. Ogren talked about one of them, which was Standard 10. This is in my memo.
Yep.
So Standard 10 was that Ty and Bond recommended that the Conservation Commission condition the approval based on a signed illicit discharge statement be provided prior to an issuance of a building permit. That would be a special condition. They've already agreed to that. The other 2 points that are still unresolved, say, the applicant shall provide a detail or notes on the proper installation of the slope stabilizer. And then the third and final is provide a pipe crushing analysis that supports the claim that there are no concerns with the structural integrity of the iron pipe. Alternatively, they recommended that the applicant can choose an alternative pipe material. So those could be conditions
Those are-
upon this,
yeah.
where they could not get the stormwater permit unless the engineering team is satisfied.
So what about the, so you're saying that the project couldn't go forward
Can't get a building permit.
until he gets signed off with the stormwater permit?
Oh, wait, no matter what.
So what exactly is a signed illicit discharge statement?
They can, if you want to explain that, but it.
Well, I mean, you wrote in your memo.
Sure. I can, so they need to have a third-party engineer saying that they are not, that the way that the project is designed, that it's not going to be doing any type of illicit discharge.
And what would be an illicit discharge? I'm not familiar with that term in terms of wastewater.
So one example would be discharging into a wetland before it was, before it went through one of these barracuda devices, to be, as an example.
Yeah, all right. So those could be conditions, as you point out in the
Yep.
memo.
Right, these would be 3 potential special conditions that the commission
Yeah.
could do.
All right, you know what? Are you hanging around, Steve?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. So, at this point, if there's no further questions from the board, from the commission? No?
No,
I think I would open it up to the public.
let's hear what they
Anyone
have to say.
has any concern? You all right with that now?
Could I just make a couple of points
ahead.
relative to that? We did respond to those comments that were made under the stormwater management permit, and they asked for more information. I mean, one of them is a structural issue. We're confident, and to pick another type of pipe, we've recommended cast iron pipe, which is about the strongest pipe I can think of. Maybe welded steel is stronger, I don't know. Don't have any
So,
analysis for that.
Are you saying you're going with cast iron?
Huh? Ductile iron, yeah.
What's it
Yeah, but I'm
called?
so old, I remember when they made cast iron.
Ductile iron?
Ductile iron, it's cast iron that's actually annealed. I don't want to get into that.
And where would that be used?
Underneath the hangar floor.
That's-
It's actually going to
okay.
be continuous.
Yep.
And we don't have any structural concerns about it. We have a reinforced concrete slab going over it, and we have geotechnical engineers and structural engineers on board. But we will be providing more information.
And what will that pipe carry? The,
The wheel load of the airplane,
yeah, no, but what will go through it?
the discharge from the detention pond,
Or across, underneath?
underneath the
Yes.
hangar, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right. So you don't want that breaking? No.
No, but I've recommended putting crushed stone to bridge it and a ductile iron pipe and then a reinforced concrete slab. We're confident that that's enough, but, and I don't
Okay.
think that's actually a concern as far as the wetlands permit.
No?
No.
I mean,
No.
you don't want it to fail, but,
You don't want it to fail, right?
Right.
It was brought up, so.
well, and that's why, as I said in my cover letter, we've tried to address everything, although they all weren't concerns that were brought up with you, and I think it's fair to say that most of the other items were addressed in Ty and Bond was satisfied with them. There are some issues about our sewer flow and whether we have an impact permit on water, but I don't think that's the case. We only have one bathroom, and it would only be if there was a fire we'd have any real, which I hope you don't charge for those, too. Tragic enough.
So our concern, we got a project, the project is in a wetland area, it creates
Yep.
impervious, and you explain to us how you're dealing with it.
Yep.
And if we're satisfied, we're going to issue an order. But I do want to hear from people in the audience. Is there anything else you want to say at this point, Peter? I
No,
mean,
no.
You could cut back up. And the gentleman in the back, no? All right. Anybody? In the back, Mr. Zuber. Oh, wait. Go, let this gentleman go first. Mark, you want him to go?
Mark Lentini, 200 Old Burley Street. Let me first say that I'm not opposed to a hangar going into the airport. Good for
What they
them.
do. Yeah.
That's what they do. What I am opposed to is discharge into the wetlands, and I believe I sent videos of the runoff from said wetlands onto Old Burley Street. And the poor girl that lives at 204 Old Burley Street just bought the house. Every time we get significant rain, her yard turns into a pond. 201, I'm sorry. And 204, from 202 to 204 turns into a lake. You can't drive down Old Burley Street without it being covered over with
I
water.
did get down there when it was wet. The only thing I guess my comment is, they make this project and it doesn't impact what's going on, and all things stay the same, you're still going to get the same flooding, which I think our town engineer has said there's a blocked drainage.
That's at 91 Burley Street. I'm at 200 Old Burley Street.
Yeah,
Taxiway, wetlands, Old Burley.
yeah. How
So-
far are you from the hangar?
Right there.
We can walk through the woods and
Yeah.
we're there in 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah.
So, any more water that's going into the wetlands is going to impact not only Old Burley Street, but Burley Street, 2-Lane Road, and Bradford. That's where it all goes, because there's not sufficient stormwater drainage that the town has put in. There's one at the corner of the airport entrance, and there's 3 more before you get to Wenham. Not enough. Not for the volume of water, and now we're going to be putting more water from a detention pond into the wetlands.
So I'd like Peter to address that, because he's saying you're going to increase the volume of water into an area that's already flooding them.
This is the first I've heard about this new area, the area that...
I have videos. I'd be more than happy to share them. I shared them with the commission. I sent them to Aaron Henry.
It didn't come up last meeting.
Peter, could you just go to the mic? So the question is, does this increase the volume of water going into the wetland?
It does not increase the rate of water going to the wetland.
No.
It's attenuated, and this infiltration is met by the standards of the stormwater requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act. I don't know where he's talking about. The one that was brought up at the last meeting was the one at runway 9, and I think that's being addressed by the town. That's what he was interested in. I'm not familiar with these other culverts.
Where's Burnham Lane?
Burnham Lane is up
Burnham Lane.
to...
Show me Old Burley Street and Burnham Lane.
Up to the north. We're actually, our address is 191 Old Burley.
So-
There's Burnham.
I'm right on the corner of Burnham Lane. So we can go straight across and come out to that taxiway. 201 is right here in that yard. Every
That's
single
the-
time we get heavy rains is wiped out. It's a pond. I could take my canoe across the street and go canoeing for the day.
I'm not familiar with it, but that's pretty far from our site. Our site is down where it says Beverly Flight Center. So I can't imagine it would have any significant impact on it. I mean, there's
Can you
a...
approximate the distance, Peter?
Yeah, 1,158.45 feet. 1,100 feet,
1,100 feet?
yeah. I mean, it could be runoff from the airport. The airport's been there a long time. I don't know if there's another plug culvert there or not. Maybe Stephen King would like to respond to that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of any specific plugged or backed up drains in the area, not to say that there aren't. But that's something obviously the town would have to go and inspect our infrastructure to see if it's operating effectively.
Thank you. All right, Mark Zubrick,
This would be marked after mine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Zubrick, 9 Glendale Drive, way on the other side of Danvers and into Middleton. I'm here as a participant in the expansion of the airport, or have been watching the expansion of the airport for the last 40 years. This hangar itself is, like Mark said, he's not against the hangar. I believe that it is an impact as a result of the expansion of the airport itself. We're talking about 135 feet wide, 300 feet long, 45 feet high hangar sitting on the west side of the airport, adjacent to the pumping station for the fuel and the embankment that you probably noticed out there. Because I went out there with a camera, and I have it all televised. The problem is that we're talking about a Conservation Commission review of the site. You may not see any impact to the Wetlands Act, Water Control Act, whatever you want to call it, because your concern is specifically for that purpose. This hangar has been in a design state for the last 6 or 8 months. The problem is that it is an impact to that area of the airport. It has been suggested to the airport flight center that it may be a great idea to move it on the other side of the runway, because that's where the wetlands are, non-existent. They don't belong to the residential area like this is having. And like Mark said, this is an impact to Old Burley, and other streets that are in the area. 300 feet long, 135 feet wide, 45 feet high. That's a very heavy rain drop that comes down on the area. And where's the water going to go? It's going to go in our residential area. That has been discussed over and over again. Now, I went one step further, and I asked for the report from Titan Bond. There are 32 line items of their comments regarding this application. I don't know whether they've been confirmed or denied. I have not heard from the engineer. You guys haven't reviewed this yet, have you? Steve? They had not reviewed it yet. So being an engineer, I know what goes on behind the scenes. That has to happen because these concerns are regarding the standards that they're using to design this hangar. There is a solution. Solution is move it on the other side of the runway, and that would give them ample opportunity to expand in this area on this side.
Do you know that they can move it? Is that what you're saying? You know this?
Anything can be moved. It's a matter of how much it's going to cost. Now,
It hasn't been built yet.
Well, it's been designed. I have the plans right here, and it is an impact. And the residents of Danvers are being impacted by not just the hangars that are being built, but this is only the beginning of the expansion. There's going to be more. The airport is going to change their runways. They will have plenty of room on the other side. That's the concern, that the Danvers residents are being held captive, basically, because the airport is there. It's not going to go away. We need to protect our residents as well as the wetlands. The residents are probably more important than the wetlands. But that's not your job. I mean, you have your own job. But I
don't know
do.
about the future expansion. I mean, I'm just dealing with what's here.
I know that.
And this isn't the type of project where we've asked that they, there are projects that come in and you have to show all, alternatives. They're not showing alternatives in this project. We do get projects where they'll show alternatives or that they've explored alternatives, and we find either that they should go with it or they're not feasible.
This has been discussed with the owners of the flight level aviation and has been proposed to them privately, not necessarily through your organization, but
Of course.
this needs to be addressed because you have impacts to our residents currently, unintended consequences of any design.
This project is not going to fix their problem.
I know,
They're still going to
but
be
it may
flooded.
contribute to it.
I think that's the question.
Yeah. That's what I'm
And whether
concerned
that
about.
we need more information, but it's a hangar for what, 2 planes?
2 jets.
Jets?
Yep.
I don't know that we know that.
No.
Yes, that's how the design shows,
I
two
thought that's
jets.
I thought we were told at the site visit, but maybe,
It could take 2 large jets, but it could take a number of small planes.
Smaller
Yeah.
planes, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's not saying it's only going to be, it will fit 2 large jets, that's true.
That's why it's 135 feet wide and 300 feet long. That's what the design is based for. Now, it may be an alternate use later on, sure. But it doesn't minimize,
Hangar that's going to be a flight school classroom.
it may, oh, I don't think so. They have Hangar 4 going on right now. They're renovating that.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Now,
Are you done, Mark?
oh, I'm never done, but,
That's what I'm afraid of.
but Hangar 4 is not something that you should be comparing this to, because Hangar 4 is a miniature version of what this hangar is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Tish Lentini, 200 Old Burley Street. What happens when the established wetlands get overly saturated over a long period of time? Do they become classified as something else? And is that still considered conservation? I mean,
You mean, in terms of what our jurisdiction is? I think are you asking a
asking-
hypothetical question like, how much water can the wetland hold, and then what happens when it can't hold anymore?
become a swamp? Does it become a marsh? I don't know that classification. So if this water is continually pumped into this wetland, can it evolve into something else? Because it's getting more and more saturated. It's to the point where it's so saturated that the runoff is increasing into the neighborhood.
Well, that's
So
what we're
if that,
trying,
does that distinction of wetlands get changed, reclassified?
that's
as
what we
something
don't
else?
know, if this is increasing runoff into the neighborhood.
So I think the most evident place for looking at the volume of water that's coming out of the wetland is actually right at the airport entrance. There is a drain basin there. That section of road, so there,
Needs more drainage.
so right here, this is the entrance. So right here, the erosion here is incredible. It's probably up to here. You can put your foot in there if you're walking and you misstep, you have an ankle breaker. These residents here took it upon themselves to go in the woods and create a path for the water to go to the drain. Because there's so much volume coming through, they were getting wet in their basement. So to say that it's all flowing north, that's not happening. It's coming out this way, which is where they're going to be over here, right? And they're directing the water this way, and it's going to come this way as well as that way. I'm just saying,
Well, you're saying all this is happening now.
can you zoom out again, please?
Miss, you're saying all this is happening
Yes.
now?
Yes. So
And
you
we haven't
probably-
done this project yet. We have
Correct.
not approved this project.
Correct.
So our concern is to what extent this is going to contribute to that.
Right, so we're paving more surface, right? We're covering more surface and we're capturing more runoff and we're pumping it into the wetlands that are already wet and saturated, right?
Yeah, and the idea is that they have to design a system that satisfies
Correct.
that they don't make the problem worse by addressing,
Right.
capturing the water, adjusting the way it runs off,
Correct.
cleaning it, they have to have a system.
I understood that they're planning for it. I'm just asking questions to try to get educated about what happens to what's established as these are as wetlands when they get too wet. Do they become a pond, a vernal pool? Do they become?
Well, even if if a wetland,
I'm saying that it can't handle much more water
if a
because
bordering wetland became a pond, it's still a
Okay.
protected area.
Great.
Yeah.
So my other thought, can you zoom out just a little further, please? There's a fence line right along here. This is all woods. This was clear cut a couple of years ago. Down here, this is a huge open field. If you want to establish a drainage route, make a retention pond there. I know there's talk about replacing the runway, the surface of it. I don't think they're increasing the density or whatever because they can't handle, there's not enough line for bigger planes and all that. But And I know it's a project not for one company, but collectively, that's a great area for a retention pond.
A great area for
A
a,
future
Retention
retention pond. Instead of,
is it airport property are you talking about?
yes, it is. They took 2 houses here and here and made this one big open field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Tony Betancourt, 15 Thorpe Circle, town meeting member, precinct 5, the area this is in. How can you guys make a decision when you got 32 items on this, okay? 32 items has to be looked at. You can't, there's no way you can make a decision on this. I mean, 32 items, we don't even know what they are. I mean, there's a bond on it, right? If I'm not mistaken?
Those are the items you haven't reviewed, right, Steve?
We responded to all those items and we submitted it over a week ago, and they're not relative to the notice of intent, they were relevant to the
Right.
stormwater permit.
Correct.
Also, that Iron Bond was content with all of our modifications except for the 3.
Right, so just to be, our peer reviewer, Mr. Betancourt's 100% right. The peer reviewer gave him up 32 points. The applicant has responded, and T&B, Tie and Bond, has responded to that response, saying that they are satisfied, other than the 3 points that I made earlier.
Yeah. I just don't know if I'm convinced yet that they're not going to add to the existing problem. I mean,
So
I understand they got a problem now.
They are not allowed to add to the rate, period.
We're missing a big problem, though. The big problem is the place over there is contaminated. It's PFAS over there like crazy, okay? How do we know that water is not contaminated? We have had samples of that water? They have consultants right now on the property checking for PFAS. And if you folks know how it works, when you have PFAS, you dig up in a different area, dilute the sample so it passes, basically, okay? I know for a fact, they have consultants on the property. That place is contaminated with PFAS, okay? And how do we know that water is not running into the brooks already?
It's contaminated with what?
The property over there is contaminated with PFAS.
What is it?
PFAS.
It's something that's a result of firefighting foam.
Oh, okay, the foam, yeah. That's the foam.
Oh, right.
PFAS is associated with firefighting foam predominantly in an airport setting, and it may be there, but we're not going to add to that at all. We're not having firefighting foam. We have a water system to fight a fire if it is here, and while I got the microphone, I'd like to point out that the watersheds that the young lady was just talking about is not the watershed we discharge to. There is a wetland there, but there's a upland in between. We have mapped those wetlands. We haven't submitted it to you, but we've mapped them before. And that's a different system, and it could be that it has no outlet, I don't know. I am familiar with it, however, and we're not
We
discharging.
put that one up, the one you just referenced? You're saying it's not the one?
Yeah, there are a couple of different wetland systems here. There's a fairly big wetland system in here, and there's actually another one across the airport roadway. But that's not connected to the one that we discharge to. We discharge to this one, which runs off in a northerly direction.
Now, they seem to be contiguous. Are there,
No, there's an upland in between.
there is?
Upland between, okay. So it's not flat.
So there's no interaction between the 2 wetlands?
Maybe underground, I don't know about that. I
Yeah.
couldn't speak to that, but there's no surface connection.
But it's the same soil, right?
It's the same soil, yeah.
All right, anyone else?
I just want to finish, basically. I mean, you got to stop and think here. This water's running in, going into the soil, and washing in. I mean, believe it or not, we also have, over at the high school, okay, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we water those fields with a well, okay? How do we know those wells are not contaminated? We're not spraying goddamn PFAS all over those...
Someone has to test the wells, but that's not...
No, I understand that, but we're talking about water here, okay? Water runs into the PFAS, PFAS runs through the brooks, right? I mean, how do we know we're not contaminating this stuff? We just can't assume this. We have to really look into this stuff, okay? Because right now, we could be contaminating people's property.
What are you saying we should be testing the water that,
The runoff,
we should be testing the runoff?
I think so. See, there's PFAS in it. There's PFAS in it. I mean, come on, we have to have them clean it up.
Has somebody, Stephen, has somebody suggested that?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think tonight's probably the night to get into PFAS
Right.
discussions. It's a wide range. It's not only found in water, it's found in dry repellent, waterproof materials. It's not just water. And we do
We
know
don't want to poison our folks.
It's an issue now.
PFAS can be found in everything that we typically use on an everyday basis. Definitely, the point is well taken, and I agree, we don't want to contaminate anybody, but at the same time, those PFAS chemicals that are prevalent in a lot of different materials that we use every day, non-stick pans that we cook with, our water repellent North Face jackets and Patagonias,
That's right.
PFAS chemicals are in those, and that is something that we should be discussing,
Yeah, I
not
know
for the
it's not
purpose of this
part of
project.
this.
No.
And-
I'm not trying to be funny, well, I'm just, bringing it up, I mean, because the water's running, and we don't know what's in it, so we gotta look into it. I mean, we just can't
Well, who would
grant
you
these
normally
things.
bring that up to? I mean, we're not.
Well, we need the town of Danvers to help us, I guess. But the airport's not gonna help us, that's for sure.
Up with them.
Yeah.
And bring it up with them. But
Okay, all right.
anything else? All right, the only thing I'll say is, if you're looking for a vote, there's only 3 of us here. You need 2. Do you want to continue this to a full board, till you have a full board, and let him respond to the other items that, where you may have a better chance? Or, again, it's your call, I mean, I can call for a vote.
I think before we ask for a vote, Mr. Lawrence, I think, would like to maybe respond to the hangar size. He did appear before the Airport Commission and did some analysis on sight lines and so forth. Bob, do you have that presentation, or? There he is.
No, no, I don't. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and other commission members. I'm Bob Lawrence with.
Will you increase his volume a little?
Pardon me?
You could speak up a little more, thank you.
Okay, yeah, certainly. I'm sorry. I don't have it teed up, but I will say what we did, Peter, is when we had the opportunity to make a site visit, we did discuss it and gave some handouts. But in terms of a line of sight, I don't know if we want to discuss that tonight, but it's a non-issue. We did get a boom truck out, place it out on Taxiway Bravo, which is about where Joe has that arrow pointing at right now that you see, adjacent to the location of the new hangar. And we boomed it up to the top peak height of the building and zoomed literally a scan 180 degrees starting at the north to the south, and you don't see anything. And then we, because it's blocked by the tree line, and then we did the same thing along Old Burley Street, in front of each house, looking to the east in this case, and you don't see anything except the trees. And we did it both during the foliage area, when the trees were full and when they were not. In fact, when we put the boom up in the air, it was the middle of January, I believe. But so the visual is a non-issue, but Peter, thanks for raising that, but I'm not sure that's really on the agenda tonight.
No, and that's actually not an issue for the Conservation Commission, but I just thought this was addressed with the Airport Commission, and there's very little line of sight from the houses to the location of the hangar.
Correct. And we did a similar analysis on noise in terms of ambient noise, or call it background noise, and the frequency.
Yeah, I don't think we're hearing about that. We're hearing about the water issue mainly.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a question of why you have to be 40 feet high.
Oh, I'm sorry, is that what it was? That is to accommodate the tail height. My apologies, it was difficult hearing. That's to accommodate the tail height of the two aircraft that are going to be inside that hangar.
Oh, okay, so you need the 40 feet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
We
correct.
need the 40 feet.
The area you're going to discharge into, Peter, how do we know that area is not involved with the area that you mentioned that they're concerned
The only
with?
communication, it's not a surface communication, it could be underground communications, but you can't have it both ways. If you're increasing the runoff, the surface runoff, you're decreasing the communication below grade.
Right.
So we're not going to make any more rainfall fall. There's only a fixed amount of water, whatever comes in the storm. So it either goes off by runoff, which is over the ground, or infiltration, which is into the ground. It's designed to replicate infiltration and control runoff. And it meets the stormwater standard, and I think that the commission has enough information. As far as the other items, a lot of those were things, as I say, that were required under the stormwater permit. We have addressed them, but they're not issues, I don't think, for the Conservation Commission.
But just to simplify, where you're addressing the amount of water that would have normally gone into the ground and gone
There's a standard for that, yes.
dissipated, and you're measuring that amount of water based on rainfall statistics, storms.
It's actually a standard that the
Yeah.
state has, that a certain amount must be infiltrated, and we've met
And then
that.
you're presumably designing a system that satisfies the criteria that you don't add additional problem.
Yeah,
to the
peak
existing
rate of runoff, that's correct.
So her concern that you're still putting more water into the wetland, how do you address that?
I'm not sure I follow the question.
Well, I think she was saying, well,
It's-
when all is said and done, aren't we putting more water?
There may be an increase in volume, but not in rate.
And could you just talk about that? Why is that different?
It's different because what they're talking about is hydraulic capacity, I think. I mean, again, I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with the airport, I'm familiar with the watersheds. I'm not familiar with any canoes by the entrance. I can't remember that, and I've been going out there for 50
By
years.
rate, you mean a fast release versus a slow
The
release?
rate, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we've asked all the questions. Do you want to respond to anything else?
No, I don't think so. Is anything, Bob, that you'd like to respond to?
Well, I'm all set, thank you.
And again, I'll say, we're only a three-member board today. You need 2 out of 3. If you don't get that, you don't pass. Would you be more comfortable getting a full board?
No, I think we could ask for a vote.
You want to ask for a vote?
Yes.
All right. I've heard from everyone. I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for, where am I? I got the right number here?
Right here.
Okay.
190.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. 191 Old Burley Street, DP file number 14-1411.
All right. Motion's been made to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we're going to vote. I would take a motion on an order of conditions for 191 Old Burley Street, NOI, DEP file number 14-1411.
Okay. We're going to go down these, right here. Okay.
I move that we issue an order.
I move
Yeah,
that we,
that's-
yep, okay, got
You
it.
frame the motion, and we'll see if it carries.
I make a motion that we approve, issue an order of conditions for Old Burley, 191 Old Burley Street, DEP filed 14-1411, with the following conditions. The first condition is that the approval is based on a signed illicit discharge statement. Oh, okay. Illicit discharge statement be provided prior to issuance of a building permit. Second, that the applicant shall provide notes on proper installation of the slope stabilizer. Third condition, applicant shall provide pipe crushing analysis that supports the claim. We recommend the applicant may choose an alternate pipe and provide additional cover for the proposed pipe.
Can we,
Add,
could we just add to that, no soil stockpiled in the wetland area?
and
And that the used ductile iron with crushed stone
Yep.
reinforced under the hangar, correct?
Crushed stone, yeah.
That was your suggestion, right?
We provided cross section.
yeah.
No.
Okay, anything else? Any other conditions? I think I got them all.
I think you touched on them all.
Yeah.
I just want to, so your motion is that we issue an order of conditions with the following,
Right.
following conditions. I just want to make it louder. That the approval be based on a signed illicit discharge statement provided prior to issuance of a building permit. That the applicant should provide a detail or notes on the proper installation of the slope stabilizer. That the applicant should provide pipe crushing analysis that supports the claim there are no concerns with the structural integrity of the 18-inch ductile iron pipe with respect to the cover and anticipated loading. And I think you have mentioned, Steve, you mentioned ductile iron?
Right.
Yeah. And that no stockpiling be done in the area of the wetland, and that was your motion, correct?
Correct.
All right, a motion's been made, and do we have a second?
I made the motion, I can't second it.
You can't second your own motion, no, you cannot.
I second.
You're seconding the motion?
What does that mean?
Pardon me?
What does second? Did I agree?
Did you? We haven't voted yet.
Okay, good. I'll second.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No?
No, motion hasn't carried. Sorry.
So they will.
They can apply again, they can try again with some other way. That's it. All right, our next matter is old new business.
Okay. What is this emergency beaver permit?
The
I don't see anything.
the beaver permit,
Yeah, the beavers are back.
shouldn't, in the past, when I was chair, we used to go out and look at that ourselves, to sign off.
So this is an emergency order. Can we get these people to quiet down?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, forget it. I guess they're just going to keep talking.
We'll wait till it clears out then.
Yeah. So this was an emergency order. We had to get someone out there immediately. There was a beaver dam around 108 Locust Street, blocked culvert. So typically how we've done this according to the past, when the people I've talked with, is that we get out there, we clean it out immediately, and then we essentially let you know that that staff fixed the problem. So that's what happened here. DEP was notified of the emergency notification. It was essentially a form that the town filled out for the emergency notification that this happened. And it has fixed the problem, and we're just letting you know that we did it.
Okay. I just remember when I used to have to
It's a
go out
weird
and
one,
look.
yeah.
I used to have to go out and look at these things. When I was chair, we don't do that anymore then.
From the other staff that I talked with that have done this before, they said no.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Can I ask a quick question?
of course.
When you say fix the problem, does that mean the beavers covered up something and you went in and uncovered it?
Exactly.
And the
They were,
beavers are still there?
well, it's usually a fun cat and mouse game.
No, then they have beaver deceivers.
No, so the first thing we actually, the real emergency notification form is actually for us to humanely trap them and release them in a different location.
Yep.
The problem is that they typically do come back.
Back, right, yeah.
Were
But
they
then-
released someplace else?
yeah, I don't know exactly, but
Yep.
in the area, they weren't like trucked
No, that's okay.
far
I was
away.
just curious.
But yeah, so we unblocked the culvert and we got permission to trap them and release them.
All right, good. The next matter is the minutes. I did read the minutes. And I think the only question I had on the minutes was, you remember the temporary work, the waivers we issued for temporary work? I think I had, I don't see it in there, but I did make the motion to issue the waivers, and I just wanted to point out that I think I had said that we were making, I was making that motion based on the fact that it was represented that the work was temporary. Yeah.
So you can, we can make that change.
Yeah.
And
Just
we can-
wanted to include it in there.
Sure, so you can make or someone can make a motion to approve the minutes with that change.
In other words, when I made the motion,
Right, but
it was
I,
based on that they
Right.
represented to me, this is just temporary work, because my concern was how, we're finding,
right, but I'm trying to remember who it was. Who it was, who was it? What was the,
so, wait, I'm going over the minutes now. It was a motion to find,
well, we talked
that-
about peers.
No.
Here.
It was a motion to find that our bylaw did not apply. It was a determination, a non-determination of applicability. I don't know if you remember that, Brian?
Yes.
And I had said, well, how are we able to grant waivers on when we find our bylaw's not applicable, but you explained you could. And I said, well, I'll make the motion based on the fact that the work is just temporary.
So, yeah, we can amend
So
the
is it
decision to
this one?
include, to say the motion to grant the waivers.
Yeah.
That's it,
So,
because I've got the waiver
yeah,
comment.
okay, good.
So we can amend the motion to say, or amend the minutes to reflect the motion to grant waivers and issue a negative determination of applicability based upon the temporary nature of the project.
Yes.
It was for 100 Independence Way.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
This is too many papers.
See right here, RDA for 100.
Right.
So you just need to make the motion to allow that the minutes reflect that.
I thought
You can just make a
did.
motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Yes.
I thought you just did that.
Well, I don't usually make the
You
motion.
can't make a motion.
I'm the chair. You
You
make the
can, you
motion.
can just make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. That's all you have to say.
All right?
Right.
Say it.
Say it.
What is it?
Oh, make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting 100 Independence Way on the temporary nature of the work that was to be taken care of.
The waivers
The
to
wa-
allow for it.
The way,
Yeah.
okay.
So you made a motion to amend the minutes to reflect that?
Yes.
Is it seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I think, what
next
else
time
do
you
we
make
have?
motions.
That is
That's
all.
all we have.
This is only my
That-
first meeting.
It's okay. See, I used to rely on
I know.
Peter to make the motion.
All right,
Okay.
are we off?
No, we need
Shut
a
off
mo-
then?
a motion to close.
Adjourn? How
Yeah.
about a motion to adjourn, Mary? Why don't
Second.
you make that
No,
motion?
you-
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, are we shut off now?